Hey YouTube! Yeah, so I've not yet decided what super clickbaity title I'm going to use for this, but this is, I should probably do a wee video of this on its own. No, I'll do that later. But, so this is a Jim Deacon B-Bass that I picked up the other day. Did have to do a wee bit, or I actually did a video of what did a wee bit work. The wiring was shot. Someone had been in and done something silly with it. Fixed it at a high fret, which I filed down so it doesn't buzz anymore. I shimmed the neck a wee bit, adjusted the action, gave it a bit of a wipe. Yeah. So comparing this to Scott's, okay, the scratch plate's a JPEX design obviously, but it did up until last week have a scratch plate that looked very similar to this. So the two of them kind of looked similar. So what we've got is a P-Bass, Jim Deacon Sharpie logo. No serial numbers, no idea what year it is. I would think it's probably 90s, something like that. It's got the amazing super orange tinted neck, which I like on Jim Deacon's of this era. The bridge has been upgraded. It's actually a Wilkinson, but it's a Wilkinson by Sung Il. So it's a Korean Wilkinson bridge. Brass saddles. To be honest, I'm not sure they'll be that might be going on one of my bases. I might swap that out with something else, so I'll get the nice fancy saddles on mine. Yeah, the fingerboard was really sun faded. Kind of looked like it was maple. Put some oil on it, and it's not, you know, it's not dark ebony, but it's not pure horrendous anymore. It's all right. Just like a slightly lighter rosewood. Again, like the other P-Bass, there's not really anything to say about a P-Bass volume and a tone split pickup. It got a tortoiseshell scratch plate. It's got 4 tuners and it's a P-Bass. So into the amp. With tone. This has got new strings on it, which is a rarity for me to actually hit a new set of strings. I'm not sure they'll be staying on this guitar either. They might be going on my Roadstar bass. This would be a good one for Jen to paint actually, but I don't know. It's not. The body's actually quite scratched and stuff, but I mean, it's a bass. That's all right. It doesn't have any big chunks out it. The scratch plate's a bit like that. It's not. It's actually got better since I did it, but I think there's a way of. I'm sure I've seen somebody put. I mentioned this in the video earlier. I'm sure. I think it was Phil McKnight. I've seen a picture of him putting like on a baking tray in the oven, and you just kind of heat it up for 10 minutes and it goes flat again. I might try that, but I'll probably try that when I've sourced another scratch plate. I do actually have a spare P-Bass scratch plate, but it's like a mother of pearl white one, and it looks horrible. But functional. It's fine, but. Or maybe get JPEX to paint the other one, actually just put it on it. But it's one of those things that I've seen that that's happened. Actually, there's a little bit of it going on that scratch plate. That's not an original Fender scratch plate though. I've seen it happen. I remember having a shot of a JV Squire, which is the expensive, kind of basically that. But Squire early 1983 or whatever it was. And its scratch plate was like that, and I'd borrowed it, and I thought it was me that had done it. I was really worried because it was hanging on my wall and the sun was shining on it when I noticed it, and I was looking at it going, but the scratch plate's like that? Pure fuck. So I borrowed it for a couple of weeks before I got my Schecter because I had to trade in a guitar against it. Back in the day when I only had one bass. I was like, I'm sorry, it's gone melted. I know, it was like that. I mean, like, thank fuck. I thought, I mean, it would be a bit shit if you left it in the, in direct sunlight for an afternoon or however long the sun was going past a couple of hours and it melted the scratch plate. Would be a bit shit. So I think these things happen a bit more over time. Although it would explain why this fingerboard was really light, as if this had been hanging up somewhere in broad daylight. It's lightened up the fingerboard, basically bleached it, which I think is what's happened here. It's not that bad though. It's a bit light, but I mean honestly, it looked like maple when I bought the bass. Sorry, I did clean the volume controls, but obviously not enough yet. Take a wee bit. yeah, so I suppose I'm going to try and A/B them. I mean, that's just got that one feels nicer. It's got a nicer neck on it than this. This one's a little bit chunkier. It's possible you'd like the chunkier neck a bit better. It's also not in as good condition. So it's got a few. You can feel it because it's dead smooth. There's a few wee knocks and dinks in the back, but that's not really this bass's fault. Really, what I'm trying to do here is go. What happened? Is there really any point spending like basically £1,000 more on a bass? Assuming you're not touring America or something, in which case, buy an expensive one, but if it's for home recording, jamming, being in a wee band, learning, I'm not even sure you'd actually notice the difference. It's always annoyed me with people when you get people who've only played guitar for, they bought their first bass, and it goes right back to one of the first bands I ever saw in King Tut's. There was a guy I used to work with in the co-op, and his bass player was a wee guy. He was, I don't know, 16 or something like that, and he had a Rickenbacker bass, a 4001 or a 4003, and these things at the time were 1,500, £2,000, and he was shit. And it's like, mum and dad had bought him a £2,000 bass, and you're like, what? There was no point in them having that at all. It wouldn't have made any difference. This is nicer. I mean, there's no shock horror. £1,000. I mean, I think these might be more than that. I was looking them up, like £1,200. £1,000 Fender feels better than £30 Jim Deacon. It does. It does. Actually, sounds when you've got the tone up. It's much more. Now I'm actually just A/B'ing them. I might actually pause it and flip between them. Put a wee. I'm not going to put a loop in, but. Can't remember what I played. Both of them with the tone up full, playing something that was sort of similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tone all the way off and try and remember whatever it is I play on this for the 20 seconds it takes me to swap them over, so you get a nice clean judgment between the two. Scratch plate. Totally honest, see the biggest difference between playing this I said, look them up, 1988 or 89. Fender Japan P bass without the fancy scratch plate. It should have one that looks like this. £1,000, something round about that region. And then a Jim Deacon. I got it really cheap because it needed work done. But we were talking £100, something like that. 10 times the price. Second hand, £100, 125, something round about those. The biggest difference between these two playing them is that the strap is lower on this bass than it is on that one. That's the biggest noticeable difference. That one, the strap's not quite as long, so it's sitting like that. That's the biggest difference between the two. Be interesting to hear what it sounds like. I've not touched the amp. The amp I've just unplugged it, plugged it straight in again. Everyone else is the same. I'm the same. That's got decent new strings on it. This has got absolutely brand spanking new strings on it. You know, they're maybe a couple of months old, so this would be a wee bit brighter just now and probably die down. Neck wise, it's a wee bit chunkier, maybe. Not to the point of going, oh, the neck's pure chunky. Kind of the same. Obviously, every part on the Fender is better than this. I mean, there's like, if you look at the rosewood on the board, you can see that how nice and dark this one is. But in saying that, this one had been sitting in the sun. I think that's why it's so light. I think they're normally a bit lighter than this. But so normally when you're looking at rosewood, it's like you kind of the darker the better sort of thing. That's what I was looking at. See the number 42, and the rosewood on that is like it's jet black. That's very, very high quality rosewood. High quality. But make any difference to the sound? I don't think so. So really, I mean, if you're going for it, assuming you're buying this, like say you buy this off me, right? Once I've finished with it, I might be stealing this bridge, but £100 ish. There, that £1,000 ish. If you were to buy it off Scott, something like that. I don't think he would sell it. I don't think I would. Yeah, but you know, basically, roughly 10 times the value. 10 times, it's worth 10 times as much. That'll get more expensive as time goes on, because eventually all the people who are like, oh, Japanese stuff's all bullshit, blah blah blah, all those people will die, because anyone who thinks that, genuinely thinks that, is because they fixed guitars in 1971, 72, 73, that kind of era, when Japan were making cheap copies of guitars, so they'd get in, oh god, another plywood Japanese guitar. By the time it got to the mid-70s, they were making better guitars than the Americans. So, that's the caveat in there. Oh, they're just racist. Because it's Far East, can't possibly be as good as America. But I say it how it is. There's a wee bit of a stigma because it's got Jim Deacon on it. I mean, I've had to take this into the Black Sabbath band, but had a sticker over the headstock. The rest of the band would be fine with it. If I turned up with this in the Black Sabbath band, the first thing guitar's going to go, Jim Deacon, oh, for fuck's sake, come on. That's not going to be the same as my £2,500 Gibson. No, I mean, it's not like it's not a case of, there is more to it than that. This one, I mean, I'm saying it's been set up. I had a high fret, did a wee bit of work, which I would hope you wouldn't get if you bought a brand new Japanese Fender P bass. It would be set up properly. You'd maybe get a wee bit of work to do and something like this. You know, just if I didn't spend any money on it, you know, there's a few things. Someone had made an arse of the wire, and that's why it was cheap. And the fingerboard had been bleached with the sun, and it's back to being. It's all right. I was actually thinking of maybe I could put stain on it if I really want. I don't think it makes any difference. Why is it suddenly gone jerky? Oh, hope that didn't come through. There, I just went all jerky. Yeah. So ultimately, no, it's not worth it at all. There you go. It's nicer. Give it that, totally. But I mean, that's kind of where I'm sitting with all these guitars. I'm one for, I want a really, really good guitar. It doesn't have to be any specific shape or brand or style. Through experience, I've found that the way to get the best guitars, money no object, is to buy ones from the 50s at 10 grand. Money no object, right? Money is an object. The best guitars you can buy are 80s Japanese ones like this lot. Because you're getting a guitar that's as good as a Fender but costs a fifth as much. Straight up. Also, I ended up kind of liking the slight different shapes. You know, it's like, no, you don't, no, what is that? It's kind of, it's cool, different. You know that it's different. It's not your usual just Fender shapes. I mean, even something like that, which I haven't actually. But yeah, actually, what I'll do is I'll compare it to that, see the difference between what the scales do. So this is the tone all the way off. See what the scale difference makes. Try and play something that I can remember what I was playing. Sorry, I had to. Yeah, so I mean, okay, this is the wee red bass, which you should know by now. I play it all the time and go on about it. This is actually just an encore, the tenor bass. It cost a tenner, and it was just uncommonly good. I was going to steal the neck and make a double neck out of it, and as soon as I played it, I was like, "This is fucking great! What the hell's wrong with this? Why it shouldn't be as good as it was?" But I ended up. I replaced the pickup just because I had. But thinking of the pickup was because I was using it like through a wee battery amp. When you hit the strings off the pole pieces, it would go bang. So I figured I can get this louder if I put on a pickup that's got like the EMG no pole pieces. So when the string does hit off it, it doesn't go. It just goes dead. So I'm thinking if I can get the pickups closer to the strings, it'll be louder and better for my wee stupid clips into my pocket bass amp. So I got an upgraded pickup, and then Jen started painting the guitars, and it was like, as soon as that's the first one, that's actually painted the wee red bass. Didn't really, it's no red anymore. So she painted it, and then when I got it back, it was like, oh, now it really wants it's got a Yamaha bridge on it, and it's got West Tone tuners because they're black. Yeah. So I mean, there's more, but it was good to start with. Is my point there really? I'm interested to hear what it sounds like. Looking back to it, and you can really hear the difference. For maybe if you're doing Primus stuff, you know, maybe, but that's not the way I play bass. I play the bass the way I play bass, like Geezer Butler or something. But again, it's just like, so, I mean, it's just like, it comes down to it. I mean, this was a tenner, that was 30 quid. Is that 3 times better? No. But this is an uncommonly good bass. There's really, they all kind of sound the same, don't they? Or do they? Or is it my amp? Or is it something I'm doing different? I mean, even this one's 30-inch scale, so it doesn't have the same high end. It's much more round sounding, which I can see people not liking, but for me, for the Sabbath, oh yeah. Yeah, it's in a fuddy tuning. That's why I'm playing it down there. It should be in. It's in C sharp tuning. That song, which is called Death Mask, if you didn't know that, because on the American versions of some of the Black Sabbath albums, something to do with publishing royalties or something like that, or just value for money, people would look at a record and go, "It's only got 5 songs on it. I'm not buying that. I'll buy this Beach Boys album, which has got 25 songs on it." So for the record company for Black Sabbath, like Children of the Grave isn't Children of the Grave, or not just a Children of the Grave. That Into the Void starts with Death Mask, and then it's got Into the Void, and then the end bit's called The Haunting or something like that. It's still exactly the same song. It's just that they've divided it up to make more song titles out of it, which kind of works with Sabbath because so many bits are completely different. That's one of the things I love so much about Sabbath. And actually, check the new Baby Metal song with Tom Morello on it. It does shit. It's like they're back. Baby Metal are back doing their thing where it's like where you listen to it, you go, "I've never heard that before. I've never heard anything like that before." That's why I love them. It's like because it was all stuff I'd never heard before, rather than going, "Oh, that's just like." The last album was a bit. There wasn't really anything on it that was like pure. Oh, never heard that. It's got a mad rhythm to it. Something to do with like a Japanese, a katana or something, the wee 1-string armadillo shell guitar thing's got one of them in it, but the rhythm in it's pure. It's a pure stranging. I love it. Yeah. So I don't. There's a lot of personal choice in these things. I don't think it's not quite as cut and shut about just buying a more expensive one is better. It is. I mean, obviously, if you offered me any one of these basses just now, it's like, which one of these do you want? You can have one for free. I'm taking this one, of course I fucking am. Nobody wouldn't. It does sound different from them. But I would maybe say that the biggest difference between the 4 basses I've played, this, so £1,000, £30, couple of £100, a tenner. The biggest difference is the scale length makes a difference. I think the biggest difference between that and this is, well, it's got a really thin guitar-y type neck on it and a short scale length. Between that and that, as I said, the biggest difference was the fact that this strap was a prick. Actually, if I just lower that strap as low as it goes, it's like, yeah, they're now both pretty much. I mean, it just goes to show that my initial reflections on playing the two of them together was, what's the biggest difference? And the biggest difference is the strap on this was slightly higher. For the playing through 150 watt Marshall in a house, talking shit on YouTube. I'm not in a recording studio. I don't have the oscilloscope out. You know, it sounds. So yeah, but there's your excuses. You don't need to have expensive stuff, and stop fucking slagging people off on the internet. I hate it. I hate the internet for that. Jen's joined one of these, the awesome cheap awesome guitars, or something like that. Some some kids like that. Just started playing the guitars. I'm really excited. It's like pure big rock fan. He's like, here you go, and they've got like the Epiphone SG. It's like, brilliant. And then the first comment is, you should just have bought a real Gibson. The Epiphone ones are crap. And you're just like, oh, fuck off, you. But why? Just like, someone's really excited about it. That's great. I mean, yeah, they're not. I mean, it's like that thing with pure. Bought a P-Bass. It's like, I guarantee you that anyone, if I put a post on that, I've just started playing the bass. I picked up this. What do you think? There's folk that are going to go, you should just have bought a real Fender. No, it's a waste of money spending £30. You should just have spent £500 and got a Mexican Fender. Right. That's not the same thing. Sorry, turning a bit of an internet rant again. But I done to it in that the people who say stuff like that haven't played something like that. These are the people that if you put a sock over the headstock and play it, they'll up here, oh, this is great, and then as soon as you take the sock, Jim Deacon, this is terrible, I hate it, it's rubbish. Right, okay, yeah, I mean, snobbery is a thing, it is. I suffer from it a wee bit, not much though, but I mean, there's no thing, would you rather have a guitar that said Squire or said Fender on it? Well, I'll have the one that says Fender on it, as long as assuming it is a Fender. I'm not. Would you rather have a Squire that had Squire on it and a Squire that had Fender on it? I'd rather have a Squire that had Squire on it, because that's false advertising. But bass is awesome. If you don't play the bass, buy a fucking bass. My God, what's the excuse have you got? Oh, I don't have £1,000. Yeah, buy a Jim Deacon then. And it's like, okay, it'd be handy to have a bass amp to go with it. I mean, that bass amp's lovely in here. I might actually be buying a new bass amp this afternoon. In fact, it might even be a video of me going to get it. A Roland Cube battery powered bass amp. Mm-hmm. I'm obviously thinking We Red Bass on tour. Just me with an actual bass sounding amp might be quite interesting. Not sure. The guy might have texted actually 25 minutes to say that yeah, there isn't. I mean, you get what you pay for. No, you don't get what you pay for. You just don't. I mean, that's like I'm going to mention the HB word again. They look fantastic in a picture. Yeah. But they're not good. They're badly put together. Certain gems, something like a Jim Deacon or a Fernandez or an Ibanez Roadster or an Aria Pro, are very good guitars. Not reflected in the price. You don't get what you pay for with these. You get something that's 5 times what you pay for. And for that price you could get, you know, for the sort of price you're talking about, a couple £100 for one of these or something, you can buy a Harley Benton for that. And a Harley Benton will have stainless steel frets, Wilkinson pickups, but it's nothing. It's nothing. It's what? It's like saying, oh, I've got this really great song I want you to listen to, and it's Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Oh, all right, okay. So up here, that's not as good as She's an Electric by Oasis. And you're just like, no, there's nothing. There's nothing in that. You know, it's like here. I could give it, here's 2 options you can have. Here's £500 cash, or a punch in the face. They're both the same. Like, I think I might put this one out tonight actually. So I'll leave the video I did of this for Monday. I'm kind of, it's quite a long one. It's like Saturday night, everyone will be drinking. I'm not, but I might be away buying a Street Cube. To be honest, it comes down to, if I was going camping and taking a bass, which is the best bass? Not this one. That's not going to be a fun camping adventure. You've got a bass that's like, you're going, no, don't rain on it. No, you can't have a shot. No, stop it. No, I don't want to chip it. No, I'm not. Put it back in its case. No, that fucking much better. Okay, you still might drop it, chip it, might get rained on. It's going to do the same. It's not worth any money. The best one's obviously the Wee Vid bass, which I would be taking camping. Definitely, especially if we've got a rolling cube. Rock on, and yeah, check these things out. Don't listen to idiots on YouTube or forums with, oh, I think you'll find that much better. Try it. If you've got the option, try it. And you do have the option to try it. Okay, you don't have the option to buy £1,000 Japanese Fender and then just to see what it's like, you borrow it off your pal Scott. But you do have the option to pick up a Jim Deacon bass for, okay, if you're going to get one for under £100, the chances are it's going to have to need a wee bit of fettling with it. But you know, even if you don't know what you're doing, I spent half an hour on it or something like that, 45 minutes to get it up and playing. If you don't know what you're doing, 2 or 3 hours, so just sitting there, but you're still messing about with it and you're learning how to do it. You know, just adjusted the action a wee bit and did the truss rod and all that crap to make it work. Which I didn't do with this, but this isn't mine. This was already done. It's worth doing, but if a couple of hours or 3 hours, which is fair enough, if you're a dentist, for example, you probably earn £1,000 on that to just buy buy a good one. Don't buy one that's in really good nick that works really well, rather than buying one that needs, well, the electrics were faulty on it, and yeah, that's why it was cheap. But they're not faulty anymore. Rock on. See you tomorrow night's live stream.